Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of the Bottle Rocket podcast with me, Chris.
And me, Jake.
Me, Ben.
Me, the Mons.
And me, Jace.
Welcome everybody. To start off, I just want to talk about the giveaway we did over the weekend, the Dead Island Epidemic. Congratulations to Brittany Ewan and Ryan Moore for picking up the free beta keys for that.
Well done.
Well done, guys. Now, that sparked up a bit of a debate because a few of us ended up spending a bit of money on that game, that free-to-play game, with some micro purchases.
Dropping some bones,
some RL bones,
as the kids say,
on the DLC, and that sparked up a bit of debate about whether DLCs are good or a bad thing. What's the opinions, guys? What's the census?
That's a broad
DLC
and
is
far-reaching.
amazing.
DLC is amazing,
Best
universally
thing
amazing.
It's just the best.
I think a lot of people would disagree with you.
Yes.
It can be amazing, yeah, dedefinitely.
Well,
when, you
lots
say
of monies.
when you say it's amazing, man, can you just give us a piece of DLC that you think is really amazing?
Well, I know what you're specifically pointing at right here. The
What might that be?
Battlefield starter pack, by any chance? The booster pack.
There we go. Yeah, that'll be the one. Yeah,
Have
so
you-
what the hell?
Have EA been giving you money again, Mance?
Well, basically,
No, Jake, it's the exact opposite of that. He's been giving EA tons of money for absolutely nothing.
So hang on a minute. What's involved in the Battlefield starter pack?
you get this unlock pack. It basically unlocks every single item that has a level requirement. So if I got to level 15, I unlocked, I don't know, a perk or a gun. I got that at level 1 because I've got the unlock pack.
So
Yeah,
you pay to be better than everyone else.
It's pay to win DLC.
It's
At
not.
this point-
It's just so not.
At this point, you cannot be any better than anybody else.
How is it not pay to win? Because you're
You've still,
paying
got,
money.
you've still got to have skills to play the game, haven't you? Could be an
Yeah,
absolute
fair
scrub,
enough.
Still.
Yeah, but a big gun really helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could ask
Well,
the mercies that.
The difference between the stock weapons and the final unlocks in some classes is a massive difference. So it's definitely pay to win, and it just absolutely takes away the reward of playing the game, in my opinion. That's my biggest gripe.
If you haven't got the time to, because on Battlefield it takes quite a while to level up. It's
Why did you buy the game if you didn't have the time to play it? It's an absolute waste of money and a waste of time.
It's a
Why
really
did
good
you
game
buy
that
the
I wanted
game?
to try. Oh, it's a really good game I wanted to try.
I'm kind of with Mance on this one, and I think it's because, like you say, you're buying to save yourself time. Like that's what you're spending the money on, right? As in, like instead of having to grind up through the levels to unlock all the equipment that you want, you're just kind of having all the equipment right at the beginning, and you get to kind of choose what you want to play with.
Well,
and you've already played Battlefield games before, right? So
Yeah.
so that's surely just a different. Like you're still enjoying the game, but it's just kind of a different way of doing it.
Well, this is
I
my
guess.
view on it, right? Basically, you work to have fun in life, yeah? So when you're at home having fun in life, you want to have as much time as possible at top end on it.
Mhm.
So if that means that you've gone to work to earn this hard cash and you've just spent it on a game that you can play quicker, then do it. You know.
Yeah.
If you,
Well, do you not?
I completely disagree. All you're doing is you're giving these big companies like EA an excuse to give away what they are considering downloadable content for, which is just 100 kilobytes unlock patch for the game, which gives you everything that you can just play to win anyway. It's an absolute joke, and people who pay money to do that kind of thing are giving these companies a reason to carry on. I am interested in downloadable content that adds value to the game,
Now,
not
would it
downloadable
be
content
different?
that doesn't.
Would it be different if, say, the DLC buyers were in a different matchmaking lobby to the non-DLC buyers? So you're there at level 1 with your standard weapons. You wouldn't come up against Mance with his high-end bought weapons. Would that make a difference, do you think?
Oh, I think that would make a big difference, but then it wouldn't affect a game like, say, Battlefield, because if Mance is a rank 1 in terms of levels, and he was and he would go on rank. It wouldn't go on what weapons you've got. That's
I know. But what if they implemented a way where if you bought DLC, you weren't allowed to play the people?
I think that would create a problem, though, Chris.
Yeah.
Like, as in other games, obviously, you start separating people from servers. Obviously, the community becomes less. You sit there waiting longer for games.
That's
More
true.
divisive.
That's true. But
the segregation, and I don't know. It would make for a less interesting game.
Yeah.
Plus, does that mean that you can never play with them again? Or
well,
what?
this is it. But you see people
to buy the DLC to play with them. Then is that how it could be? Like
Well,
I couldn't have a game with Ben because he's not got the booster
it was just
pack.
like people sit there moaning about people that have bought DLC. So why not separate them and stop them
I
moaning?
think it's a cracking idea. I mean, just at the end of the day, we've been playing Dead Island for the past week, right? And these games that they're bringing out
fantastic game, by the way.
They're giving you free games now, but all they're asking for in return is for you to buy some content.
Yeah, Jace, there's a difference between free-to-play and microtransactions that may improve the game, and then games that are coming out, like Manta's paid probably the best part of £50 to get Battlefield 4 for PlayStation 4, and then he's forked out a further £40 to get the Ultimate Unlock Pack, which literally just does that. It unlocks the weapons. It does nothing else to add value to the game.
It just saves me time to... Fair enough, I play a lot of games, so I don't get much time to play. I'm quite varied in what I play, so I want to see what all the guns do, like, as soon as I go on. I don't want to spend 6 weeks getting to level 120 or whatever the max level is, then to think, well, I can try this one now because I finally unlocked it. But when I can just log on now, yeah, I've already got a gun though. I can just give it a wheel straight away.
Yeah, because
no hassle, no nonsense.
The core game itself, like the £50 Battlefield that you buy, has still got that experience, if you want it, of unlocking all the guns and grinding your way up and getting gradually better. So how is it any better or any worse to kind of give people the option to say, I want to bypass that? Like, that isn't something that interests me. I just want to, like you're saying, Matt, it's like just play with all the guns right from the get-go because I don't have that much time. I get what you're saying, Ben, that it kind of gives companies a free rein to pull this sort of shit.
Yeah, exactly. But this is just
40 quid is 40 quid is a lot of money. But it's as much as you're willing to pay for it, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. But that's the same. That's the same as anything. You can go shopping and buy premium food, or you can buy the cheapest food, or in that regard, you can spend your money on whatever you want. It's just I just disagree with things that you're paying to unlock that you can just play through the game as normal, which you would enjoy doing, and you'd get the reward for it. You're paying to have the rewards taken away from you, and the core experience then just gets diminished.
But you could still reach that kind of same level that Mansa's paid to reach in a reasonable time frame if you wanted to, like if you're willing to kind of put the graft in.
Definitely.
And you probably
definitely
enjoy doing that, and that's okay. I think my problem with a lot of DLC is ones where you can't progress unless you pay a microtransaction. Whereas
that's wrong.
There's like a level that's just too hard to beat unless you have this certain gun, and to grind up to it will take like 100 hours or something like that. That's not cool, and that's the kind of stuff that should be stamped out.
Yeah, it's like strong-arming you as a player into thinking that you can't do it unless you buy whatever it is that they're offering.
Yeah, exactly.
So where do you think Capcom sit in this debate?
Oh. Chris, give us an example.
It was bound to come up. Well, cast your mind back.
Is there a game
2 years?
mind, Chris?
Cast your mind back to Resident Evil 6.
Mercenaries.
Yes, and well, did you experience that downloadable content?
No, I never played the game.
Yeah, I was going to say, in all honesty, I never played the game, but I think by that point I'd actually boycotted playing Capcom games purely because of this issue. Because they did a similar thing in Resident Evil 5. It wasn't to the same extent, but the content was on the disc, and then they released the patch to unlock it. But I think the patch was about £7. So. And
then more recently, they did the same with Street Fighter X Tekken.
Yeah, I mean, that had actual characters that they just kept locked on the disc.
Yeah.
But that annoys me because there were characters that you could only unlock by buying them. Like there were characters
that's what becomes annoying.
Yeah, they took characters out of the finished product and hid them behind a paywall. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's basically saying, these people have got money, can have something that you haven't got, which that is wrong. Whereas at least on Call of Duty, you are buying the pack, you are getting in front of people, but then other people have still got the chance to get the guns. They're not saying you can't get these guns. I
mean, thinking to something like, say, something that's done it really well, like Team Fortress 2, who kind of probably kind of showed people, as Steam often do, how to do DLC well, is that there's nothing that you can't do in that game through skill alone. You've got all the characters unlocked, got all the skills or whatever. But if you want to cosmetically alter your character, and Loadout did something very similar.
Yeah, Loadout did the same.
You pay money, and that's fine. So you can play it without spending a penny. But if you want to look more interesting, spend a little bit of money.
That's fine. I mean, when the PlayStation 3 first came out, I was a massive fan of the MotorStorm game, and I must have spent probably nearly 15 quid just buying liveries for the cars. But that's an option that you've got. It literally, all it does is alters the appearance, and they're cheap, like 99p for a pack of 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So you don't mind spending little amounts often for things that add value to you as a person, and they don't really make much of a difference to the game.
Well, the thing is, right, I favour DLC in some options. Obviously, if it's going to mean that you're going to go into a game and you're just going to get slaughtered every 2 seconds because they've got this ultimate power that they've brought, then yeah, it may be against it. But like I say, I've been playing WoW for fucking years, and the one thing I hated on WoW was leveling. And now they brought out this ability to go, here's a level 90 character that you can buy straight away.
Yeah, but doesn't that cost 40 quid?
Yeah, it costs 40 quid, yeah.
It does, but you've got to think, right, to level to level 90 may take you 2 months. So that's 2 months subscription.
Yeah, but
that you got to spend.
40 quid, as well as the fact you're paying $8.99 a month anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's the Battlefield thing again, isn't it? It's people paying for time.
Yeah.
You play
It's just a boost, isn't it? It's lazy.
It's for time.
Lazy
But
people
you play
want to boost.
WoW for the end game. You don't really play it for the. I mean, yeah, the questions there and that. There's a few geeks out there that really like the storyline. Yeah,
But
the
the
role
thing
players.
is, well, that's me. That's lore
gonna
master
say
me
this
over
is-
here. But
There's one in the forum.
hi. But that's a broken system now anyway, because of the boosts that they've put in place on leveling. You can't play through that story anymore because you out level the content too quickly.
Exactly.
So you sort of need to buy. They broke it, so you need to bypass it now.
Yeah, because I
That's a shame.
It is a shame, yeah.
I used to enjoy doing the leveling, like when it wasn't so fast. You know, but when they upgraded it, they basically force you. They said, you're not going to enjoy the storyline because you won't have a clue what's going on because you're skipping it that quick. So here's this pack to get to end game. But like I say, I think it's a good idea in some games. I don't agree with the fact of like Ben says with Call of Duty, this whole thing with buying the guns and destroying someone because they're going to have the guns a lot quicker.
Now, just before we move on, I just want to talk about the DLC that does it right. Yeah, I think we've got quite a few BioShock fans in here at the moment.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And for me, but each time round, they've brought out new content post-release.
Yeah.
That's added a new element to the story.
To the game.
Episodic gaming, isn't it?
Did BioShock 2 do Meridian? Was it? Mm-hmm. I think it was called. It added an extra adventure. You've got the new one for Burial at Sea for Infinite.
Yeah.
It adds more to the game. That people love the game, ask for more, and get more.
Exactly.
Yeah. I thought that was meant to be the whole point of downloadable content. Obviously, bigger companies have monetized it so much that if you can add it in, then do it. It's the same kind of thing as adding multiplayer into a traditionally single-player game. It's a new way to exploit the game to make money.
It's almost
downloadable content done right is absolutely fantastic. I mean, I played Skyrim to death. I liked Dawn Guard expansion, although it got pretty boring reviews. But the Dragonborn expansion was absolutely amazing, and man, that game just never gets old for me. And I think that is what I need from a game's downloadable content.
It's almost like a band getting an encore at the end of a gig.
Yeah, precisely.
If the crowd appreciate it, they come back out and play another song.
It says a lot that like the most successful DLC, as in sort of in our opinion, is the kind of DLC that's been in this sort of model forever. Like there's always been expansion packs to games,
exactly,
extra content you can buy. So it just kind of goes to show if it ain't broke, really.
You used to go to the shop and buy the disc rather than download it,
Exactly. And then you get like another 10 levels or whatever, or another mini campaign. and you get to play your favorite game a bit longer.
Exactly.
I mean, going back to the old Street Fighter X Tekken thing and Capcom. I mean, that really brought to a head the sort of downside of downloadable content in the industry, because Capcom were getting absolutely hammered when people on the Xbox 360 were using hacks and unlocks to use the characters and actually play them online. And then Capcom had the tenacity to go to Microsoft and ask for these players to be banned when they were literally just accessing content on the disc.
Well, it's just greed, isn't it? We've charged you full price for a AAA release, and we've removed some content for it, which we're now going to charge you a bit more money for, which is just a bit disgusting, really.
Yeah.
But then you can probably apply that argument to pre-launch day one downloadable content, because you cannot tell me that any downloadable content that's being advertised before a game comes out and is day one is not being developed alongside the game. And they're probably already on the disc. It's just a nightmare. It really is.
It certainly is.
Where do you draw the line, I guess? I would have my suspicions that Burial at Sea was being developed alongside BioShock Infinite, but it is a completely separate story. It's a completely separate system.
So the conclusion really is
well,
we can't enjoy ourselves.
No, but you know what though? Like, I don't mind being deceived by a games company if they want to develop downloadable content alongside the main game as extra content to come out later on, then that's fine. But don't advertise the fact and tell us that 2 months after the game comes out, which by that point you should have completed it, you'll get to have another £11 expansion pack with three extra map packs, or it's just.
I think Deus Ex Human Revolution did it. They had like an extra level that was just basically cut out of the main game that you could buy as a day one DLC. So it was like, you can either have the game or you can have the game with this level in it. It was just Dragon Age 1 did it as well. I think they had like a guy that you could keep items with or something in your camp who you had to buy. Like, as in, that's a feature that clearly was in the original game that they now just put behind a paywall. That shit.
I think unfortunately it's the way the gaming world's moved on. Like they're doing it for every single game now. Like every single game, they think, if we can bring out another 6 set of skins here, we can make some money.
Yeah, I mean, let's not be so naive as to think that all these companies go into the games industry with the pure and noble intention of bringing their vision to life and letting people
I think they're in the minority.
Experience that. Yeah, exactly. These people are the kind of people that go to Kickstarter and have the gamers actually fund the development of the game. They don't go to a publisher like EA or Activision or Capcom and say, listen, I need $100 million budget for this game, but please don't put downloadable content because that'll offend the gamers. That's obviously money is going to be made. It is a big business industry now. It's one of the fastest growing in the world. But I think that there just needs to be a little bit more respect between the developers, publishers, and the gamers who are actually funding this stuff.
Maybe if the DLC was a bit fairer on price, because some packs, like you say, £40, it seems a bit steep, doesn't it? Maybe if I mean, how many kids out there with a pocket money can afford 40 quid?
Exactly.
The only way maybe that's a good thing, though.
The only way you can change things is by voting with your wallet.
Precisely.
If something's too expensive to not buy it.
That's the whole point. That's why I don't want to tell people don't spend your money on things you enjoy and whatever. But it's the behaviour that feeds into the next business decision that comes with an unlock pack or something. I mean, I've hammered Battlefield 4 and DICE, EA and whatever today, but let's look at the Battlefield 4 Premium. Like, that's £40, but with that you get 5 map packs, which if you were to buy individually would cost you about 56 quid altogether. And then you get loads of other battle packs and skins and whatever else. That's awesome. That is value for money. But, we can't have everything, I suppose.
We can't have everything indeed. And I think that's where we're going to have to leave that one. Because we've still got a bit of time left. I want to talk about E3 fast approaching.
Yes.
Let's let go of the negatives and let's focus on the positives of E3.
Oh, I'm quite negative about E3 as well.
You're quite negative, right? Go on then. You start this one. Well,
let's keep this on a miserable channel.
Let's.
No, I used to be really excited about E3 when I was a kid and kind of knowing sort of what was going to come out and things like that. But like you say, the gaming world has changed in terms of the corporate environment, and I now do just kind of feel a bit sad about E3 and that we're just going to be sort of lied to and sold things to. Having said that, I am really excited about some games that are coming out, all of which are sequels.
For example,
to be fair, Jake, I can see why maybe in your mind you're a bit disappointed by E3 these days. Because if you cast your mind back to a few years ago, probably 2008 or 2009, there was that year where E3 just died a death because it sort of, I don't know if it was about the time that the economic downturn had sort of hit the whole world, but E3 just didn't happen for a whole year. And then it went from being this whiz-bang show, which people were really excited about, and then it was sort of in a warehouse with a load of girders, and it wasn't very interesting. It's picked up again now, but that might be what's affected your excitement for it.
Yeah, I just think there's so few original IPs these days because nobody's kind of willing to take much of a risk.
but what about Destiny?
But apart from Destiny,
A $500 million risk being taken on that one.
That's not much of a risk. Of course, it's a very
Not
good
much of a
counter
risk.
example.
It's more than any Hollywood blockbuster.
It is. It's a ridiculous amount of money to spend on a
Well,
thing.
I think the development cost of the game are somewhere in the regions of $200 million, but the $500 million is like a pledge to the future of the game, and it's meant to be a 10-year game. So
A pledge to developing DLC.
I'm
Yeah,
not being funny,
well-
Chris, but if they're willing to spend that much on a game called Destiny that was made by the people that made Halo, I'm in there.
Well, the thing is, Bungie have got a fantastic track record with.
they've got a good pedigree.
Exactly. I mean, I'm a massive Halo fan. So bring it on.
I think you got to be you're hard pressed to find somebody who doesn't enjoy at least one element of the Halo universe.
You've got one sitting here.
I'm sure you know the graphics.
Hang on. Mance is speaking up here. You're not a Halo fan? Anti-Halo?
Not one bit.
What? Not even a tiny bit, man.
It's at the bottom of my.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you
It's a
why
bold
Mance
statement.
doesn't like Halo.
Might even go
'Cause
below.
There's no DLC to buy guns in there.
Oh,
Oh, snap.
Right. So what else have we got at E3? What are we looking at?
hopefully Uncharted 4. Come on.
I'm excited
Some
about the
sorry.
new Dragon Age or Dragon Age.
They're bringing out a new Alien,
Are they?
Oh, Alien Isolation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
The trailer for that looked fantastic.
They're
Yeah,
going.
The trailer for the last one looked fantastic as well.
Apparently,
This is
the
true.
last one was such a flop. I was reading
Well-
the other day in a PC magazine that the last one was such a flop that this one they really, really want to get
But
out there.
this one's more of a survival horror, right?
Yeah,
But
that's right.
They
they're
basically
doing-
lied in the trailers of the last one. That's kind of part of my reason why E3 and its ilk make me feel a bit
they're going
sad.
down a different route this time.
Good.
Basically, like kind of a zombie apocalypse type thing. It's just a survival game more than anything this time round.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I can get on board with that.
I saw some of the trailer and it looked like it created a fantastic atmosphere and it looked like it generated genuine fear as well. Which I mean, I just love that in a game. Yeah, if you can be sort of taken in that deeply by a game and scared, I love that. I think that's fantastic. I want to see more of that. Am I the only one that can't wait for any news on Kingdom Hearts 3?
Probably.
Because
Chris,
I absolutely adore that franchise. I think it's really overlooked by a lot of people. It's a fantastic franchise, and I think I can't wait just to hear something about the possibility of having another one. We got a trailer last year at E3.
No, I was saying it was a gameplay trailer.
It was a gameplay trailer as well, which is why everybody with interest in the game got really excited because it finally looked like things were starting to move along after what 6 years was it?
In my opinion, I think you should expect at least another gameplay trailer and a release date.
Yeah, but
Chris-
Chris,
we're
Kingdom
not
of
gonna get
Hearts, does
released.
that mean you're going to have to buy yourself a new console, man?
It probably does, but for that game, I'd shell out. I absolutely love
You
it.
really would?
Call me a big kid for loving Disney stuff, but I love the games.
How do you feel about Star Wars Battlefront, the new?
I love Star Wars games, man.
Well,
Any
sorry, Jason.
any game where you can swing a lightsaber around, I'm happy. I don't give a crap what the content is.
You see, I'm not too up on Battlefront. I never really got into them. I was just really upset when they canned the 1313 project.
Yeah.
Because that showed some real promise.
It looked original. It looked interesting.
Not just in the gameplay, it's just in the way it was made. I think it just looked and the trailer felt the business.
But it had one thing that you don't get in any of the sort of mainstream Star Wars like movies and games or whatever. It's like a dark adult tone. You get that in the expanded universe, but you never see it like in a game or in a film. You do kind of want to see what's the real dark side of the Star Wars universe, if you will.
Don't mention the expanded universe, though, because that's just been canned by Lucasfilm, hasn't it?
Well, that's another story altogether.
Well, I'm not even going to get started because I could go for about 3 hours on that one.
So the Force Unleashed just didn't happen. Is that?
Well, that's acceptable.
Oh, okay. That's between 4 and 5.
There's a lot of sequel games coming out, isn't there? You know.
There is, but I mean,
you got the usual boring FIFA 15. You know. The next edition of FIFA.
You're gonna get that every year, aren't you?
And then the next Call of Duty. Is it going to be a fail or not? But there's some good new games coming into the tail.
Yeah, like Jake was saying though, there's not a lot of new IPs coming out, and it's an expensive business. You've got to go with stuff that works, and FIFA keeps working.
The thing is though, the new generation of consoles, especially Sony, they're pushing the indie scene like to an extent that has not been seen before. I mean, I know you've got plenty of indie titles on the PC and whatever, but like in the main media, they're always reporting about PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and now there's a really big push on all the indie titles. I think that's obviously that's the future of gaming. So
there really is, because there's some absolutely ingenious games that have come out of really small companies that have just blown me away. I mean, I played Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. Last month, and that just floored me. It was spectacular. It felt amazing. It was great to play. It was new. This sort of idea of controlling two different characters with the one pad. It was different. It was fun.
Yeah,
weird. And it was a challenge. And I really, really enjoyed that game.
Yeah, it hurt my brain.
Yeah, and my thumbs. Limbo was another one. It was. I mean, it was.
Jazzpunk. Tried that.
Jazzpunk is mental.
Jazzpunk is just one of the wackiest indie games I've ever played. Got the Stanley Parable. That is just an absolute mind bend.
You just bought that, didn't you?
Yeah, Stanley Parable. So it's a guy that narrates over someone's life, and you can either follow your life by the narrator on his bike and choose a different path.
That's that got a lot of critics Game of the Year awards last year, and it was made by like one guy in his bedroom, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm a massive fan of FTL.
You are, aren't you?
I am a big fan of FTL.
You've swung me into that one as well.
And that's just such a simple game that was made by like 3 guys. The indie scene is where it's at for new IP and interesting ideas and people trying stuff. And it is great to kind of see somebody as big as Sony pushing that.
Yeah, brilliant, yeah.
I really hope they keep doing it. Xbox Live, to be fair, are also pretty good at that as well. They do like Summer of Arcade, and they really kind of pushed things like Bastion, things like Limbo. They got their breaks through Xbox Live.
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. And on that note, I think we're going to have to wrap it up there, guys.
Ooh.
So, as ever, if you enjoyed it, please follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/BottleRokkit. Rokkit spelled Rokkit. And I will continue to say that because a lot of people still get it wrong.
I still get it wrong myself, so...
Yeah. I would have spelt it with a QU in the middle.
I'm still working out how to spell bottle as well.
that's Bottle. You can also catch us on Twitter to keep updated on there. That's at BottleRokkit. And if you want to see some more videos, visit us at youtube.com/BottleRokkitUK.
And that's at, not AT.
So, thanks for listening, guys. I've been Chris.
I've been Jake.
Been Ben.
I've been Mars.
I've been here.
Later. Bye.